Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey, good evening, Facebook family and my beautiful posties. Welcome to another episode of Post Daily Dose with me, your trusted parenting advisor, faithful guidance servant on the healing journey. What's my name? Big Papa Brian+Post. Hope everyone's having a fantastically manic Monday. And by manic, I mean hyper productive and focused and energized and feeling good. And thank God it's Monday. Don't we love, love, love Monday? So we finished camp this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Lots of hard work, lots of emotion, lots of really cool breakthroughs, lots of really fantastic kids, lots of really amazing parents. It was a blessed 2 days. I had a fantastic time. Was completely exhausted when it was done, and it was just so well worth it. And so we're going to be planning again for 2020 to have another one. Hope you guys start marking that on your calendar now. We'll probably try to do it a little bit earlier so it won't conflict with so much school, so many school beginnings. But had a good time. So tonight we're going to talk about, hey, Kirsten from the Netherlands. We're going to talk about two things. One, real quick, hey, Stefan, I had a messenger message from a lady from Holland, and she was, the name just like slips my head, and she was in a bad situation, and so she gave me kind of an overview of what was going on, and I responded and gave her a couple thoughts because there wasn't any real specific questions, and she said, she replied back, and she said, thank you, it felt so good just to have someone listen and care. And I thought, you know what? There are a lot of parents in the world who are struggling with their children. It's one of the real common theme amongst our families over the weekend was, you know, they get to see all these other families and hear all these other families, and they look at them and they think, oh my gosh, they've got it all figured out. They're all put together. And then once they start to hear the stories, they're like, oh wow, they're struggling just like us. Everyone is struggling. Stop comparing yourself to the Joneses. Everyone is struggling. I don't care how perfect the Joneses look. They've got their challenges when they close that living room door and they go into their homes. They are struggling. They just may have a better way of making it seem like everything's put together on the outside. The inside is not as beautiful as you may think it is. And so you're not alone, even though it can feel that way. So it's just like I reposted something from a friend of mine on Facebook today about, you know, teach your children that if they see a kid sitting by themselves in the cafeteria and they're lonely, ask that child to sit with them or go sit beside them. And he was saying that basically that's one of the ways that we create more love and understanding and peace in the world. And I think the same can be said of families. You know, if you see a family that you think is struggling, just reach out and just say, hey, is there anything I can do to be supportive? Not judgmental, not critical. Don't tell them what to do. They're trying to figure it out the best they can, but is there anything that you can do that just offers support? I think that can be very important and helpful as well. So the other was a question that came in midday today. Like my phone just started going bzz, 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 bzz. And I'm like, what the heck? And so then I look, and it's a text message from Christy. It's 28 messages. I'm like, oh my goodness. And so she had basically copy and pasted a message that came through, a question that came through from a family. And I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't remember your name. But and a lot of times I've said to Christy, because some of these like questions can be really long, and so I've said to Christy, just tell me to go check the messenger, and I will. You don't have to text it all to me. But anyway, I guess she really wanted me to make sure I talked about this. But in a nutshell, the mom said that they have a child. He's 6 years old. They've had him for the last 3 years. They've really been struggling. She expected that he was going to have a really bad day at school, his first day of school, and his day was actually really good, and she was really happy about that and really couldn't even believe it. But then the second day, it was like all hell broke loose, and it was just back to the nastiness and to the rejection. And I think she used that word rejection. Mom, I think you used that word rejection at least 5 or 6 times in that little 3 to 4 paragraphs that you shared. And that really spoke to me. And so she, he's rejecting, and nothing she can do is good enough. And her husband feels sad for her because she really wants to be a good mom. And this kiddo is just like not letting her mother him and not letting him help. And he rebuffs her at every opportunity. And they've even considered potentially relinquishment, and they don't want to do that. And so she's just feeling helpless and not really knowing what to do. So that's what we're going to talk about, and let's just jump on into that. There's a couple of things that are significant there. One of the aspects of the camp that we just did over the last 2 days, so 2 full days, and these are usually 9 and starting right on the dot at 9 a.m. and ending right around 6 to 6:30. So that's a long day, breaking for an hour and a half at lunch, and the rest of the time is just working. The first full hour and a half, the first full day and a half, we probably did less than an hour and a half of lecture. So the first day and a half was all emotional processing, small group, intense, heavy emotional processing. And after the first day, the next morning, I always kind of go around that process, and people are like, we did not expect this. Oh my gosh, can't even, that was heavy, and we've never done anything like this before. And the reason we do that work, and I help my participants understand, is you do that work so number one, you can start to get in touch with some of your own stuff. And I've said this before, all emotional reactivity stems from unfinished business. If you find yourself feeling emotionally reactive to something or some person, it has far more to do with you and far less to do with them. They are just a trigger for your unfinished business. So I'm going to tell you this, Mom, in as sincere a way as I can. You mentioned feeling rejected so many times by your 6-year-old child who's been with you for 3 years that I know you experienced rejection in your own childhood. I think rejection is probably one of your most sensitive areas. In fact, it felt so heavy, it's almost as if you could have been an adopted individual yourself. That your rejection sensitivity is so intense, and from a 6-year-old, so that tells me that you probably experienced some pretty heavy rejection yourself as a small child. What I want to ask you to do and encourage you to do, I want to beg you to do this. Get with your husband who feels so much empathy for you. Ask him to wrap his arms around you. Breathe deep into your body and go back and think about the ages from 3 to 6 for you. And when did you first feel rejected? When did you first feel the overwhelm, the sadness, the loneliness from that intense rejection that you're still carrying this day? And you might not have experienced it until you got this child. And it's because this child has just now created a vibration that resonates at that level of experience for you, that level of emotional experience for you that no one else has done. And so now that's why it's getting opened up. And so I want to encourage you to breathe in and get in touch with that rejection. Mama, sister, let that go. Breathe into it and cry and be angry and feel your pain and open that rejection up and let that stuff go, because it is interrupting your ability to parent your child effectively. Your child, see, I don't know what your history is. You shared your child's history. Your child has significant rejection. 3 years running of rejection before you even came into his life. And now he's experiencing all these additional rejection because you feel rejected. Because every time he gets upset with you, every time he pushes you away, you're getting upset and emotional and getting your feelings hurt, and then you're rejecting him back. And see, it's a negative feedback loop. You guys now have a 3-year negative feedback loop because I believe both of you are sensitive to rejection, and you've got to be able to calm your own first. You've got to be able to calm your own first before you can get to break through to him, because he needs you to stand strong. He needs you to not get overwhelmed and move into your own PTSD and look at him as a perpetrator in your life and like you're a bad person. You're not. You're personalizing his rejection of you, and his rejection of you has nothing to do with you. He has 3 years of not being good enough in some adult's life. 3 years, and now he's in your life. He's been with you for 3 years, and probably a good solid year and a half, you guys have this negative feedback loop of rejection. So he's experienced more lifetime of being rejected than he has in being accepted. And you've got to conquer that demon for yourself. You have got to figure that out so you stop feeling so rejected, because his rejection of you has nothing to do with you. But every time you feel rejected by him and you reject back, you're just perpetuating his trauma. You're just perpetuating his fear. You're perpetuating his not good enough. And it's just building on itself. It's just compounding on itself. And then he can't even get out of it. He can't grow through it because you're so busy feeling rejected. Because you're so busy feeling rejected, you can't help him grow through his own rejection, his own insecurities, his own not being good enough. You're not dealing with a 6-year-old. You're dealing with an infant who's never felt accepted, never felt loved, never felt wanted. It really has nothing to do with you. That's why you have to go in. You have to figure out why you're getting so overwhelmed by this 6-year-old who's really an infant. You're getting so overwhelmed by this rejection, and when you get through, so the next thing that we do in camp, once I put the parents through a series of emotional processes themselves, the next thing we do is I help them start opening up to their child's pain. That's where you've got to be. You've got to be able to grieve his loss. You've got to be able to grieve his conditioned rejection, and rejection comes from not feeling good enough. You've got to be able to grieve that for him, and you've got to be able to feel sad for him and sorrow for him, and you've got to be able to look through his rejection of you and say to him, honey, you're going to be okay. I know how scared you are, but I love you, and we're going to get through this, and I know you don't want mama to be anywhere around you right now because mama scares you, because mama can make you feel really sad and unwanted. And I'm sorry that happened. I'm sorry you've had mamas who made you feel that way. I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to let you go. I love you. I'm going to be here for you through thick and thin. That's why you got to get that crap about relinquishment out of your head, because if it's in your head, it's in your heart. If it's in your heart, you're sending that vibration. So then you're asking, how can this child accept me as his mother when you've got a seed, and it only takes a seed. You've got a seed, a kernel that says, we may not keep this child. So you're sending that vibration. Every time he feels rejected and stressed out and scared, and he rejects you, and you feel stressed out and rejected and scared, and you send that vibration that you might not keep this child. Can you blame him for not letting his guard down? Can you blame him for not just trusting you explicitly and just, believing that you're going to always be there for him when you already have the seed, the thought? And I appreciate you sharing that with me. That's very honest. It's very authentic, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no judgment. But what I want to tell you is you have to be aware that what you feel is what you project. It's a vibration that you create. And Deepak Chopra says, and I've said this over and over and over again, you cannot prevent the future from happening, but you can create the future from the present. If you've got thoughts and feelings in your mind and in your heart right now about even the possibility of some kind of relinquishment or termination of an adoption, then you're projecting that fear into the future. You're feeding, Mom, you are feeding this rejection as much as your child is, and you're the adult. You can break through this. This 6-year-old rejection, oh my gosh, think about the parents who get rejected think about when he's an adolescent. When he's an adolescent and rejection is just a part of parenting. Oh my gosh, think about how intense that could be. We're going to nip that in the bud now. I want you to do this for this 6-year-old. I want you to do it for you, and I want you to do it for your 6-year-old self. I want you to grieve your rejection. I want you to grieve your not feeling good enough, and I want you to have courage and break through that mess, and I want you to claim this child. Claim this child. That's number one. Okay, well, this is maybe it's like a three-part. That's number two of this daily dose. Number three of this daily dose is we all have a window of tolerance for how much stress we can handle. You should be commending yourself for him going to school and having an awesome first day. Pat on the back, because you did such a good job to help him get to that place. He would not be able to go and have that great day if it was not for what you've done for him and with him over the last 3 years. You have helped him to connect and feel regulated and feel safe enough to go into an extremely stressful environment and be successful. Celebrate. Commend yourself. But you have to understand, he used his entire window of tolerance. His entire window of how much stress he can handle, he used it on that first day. And then if he comes home after that first day and he's really stressed out and he now has no more capacity to regulate himself, what more can he do except drop back into his brainstem, be in stress, be in survival, reject everybody because he feels scared, he feels like he's not good enough, he feels like he's going to lose another placement. He's in a state of terror. What more can he do after he spent all his resources? All his resources, having a great day. You know what this kid has? What he needs? He needs to be in your arms. He needs a bottle. He needs some soothing. He needs a bath. He needs some books, some stories read to him. He needs to be held and carried. He needs to be fed. He needs to be loved on to the extreme. He needs to be regulated. He needs to be made felt good enough. He needs to have you lay down with him tonight and read him a book and love on him and think loving thoughts and pray over him and be there till he falls asleep and let him know if he wakes up and you're not there, he can come and get you and you love him some more. And in the first thing in the morning, you give him another bottle and you tell him how much you love him and how much you wish you could have been there when he was a baby, and you just have a gentle morning and you take him back to school. He's feeling good. Now his window of tolerance is restored and he's going to have another dadgum good day. And then when he comes home at the end of the day, his window of tolerance is going to be shut, so he's going to be a little asshole to you. He's going to be rejecting you. He's going to be making you feel not good enough. But because you're working through all your stuff, you're not going to be overwhelmed by that. What you're going to do is you're going to see your scared little, overwhelmed, stressed out baby with no window of tolerance left, and you're going to go right back to doing it again. You're going to give him a bottle. You're going to play games with him. You're going to go in his room with him. You're just going to be there. If he's yelling at you, if he tells you he doesn't love you and he hates you, you're going to take some deep breaths. You're going to conquer your own rejection. You're going to keep yourself calm. You're going to get really sad because he feels so scared and so not good enough, and you're going to stay present to him. And you're going to tell him, I'm going to be right here for you. I'm going to stay right here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to leave you. I love you. If you need a little private time, I will. But I'm going to come right back because I love you, because you're my baby. And you're good enough. And you had a great day. And you're going to have another great day tomorrow. And I'm your mama. And I'm always going to be your mama. And I want to give you a bottle again. I want to hold you. I want to nurture you. I want to love you. I want to feed you. I want to walk with you. I want to play with you. I want to read to you. I want to give you a bath. I want to snuggle you. I just want to love on you so much. And as soon as you feel ready, my arms are ready for you. My arms are open. I love you. I want you in them, and I can't wait until you feel just a little bit calmer. You feel a little bit calmer, and you let mama come and love on you some more. And then you do the same thing over and over and over, and guess what you do? You end up having really good days at school. Comes home, and pretty soon you have much better evenings. And then what happens? He has another good day at school. You have much better evenings, and then you guys are on the right track. There you have it. In any given situation, we always have two choices. We can continue to react from our same imprints of stress, fear, and overwhelm, or we can stop. We can take 3 to 10 deep breaths. As Katie said, breathing is key. We can slow down, breathe, and breathe some more, and get in touch with that pain, whatever may be there, and choose love. And I hope for you, Mom, that you can choose love, because you are good enough. You are good enough. You are doing an amazing job with this child. Stop those fear-based thoughts of letting go and giving up. You're better than that. Find your courage. Do your own work. Do your own work and keep showing up. Big Papa loves you. God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you tomorrow.